there is a bit of a distinction between a niggle and what most people would think of as an injury, and there's been some research that's come out in the last few years that kind of tries to define that relationship a little bit more clearly. So there's a guy called Matt Whalen, he's an Australian bloke, and he did some stuff in football players, soccer players, and what they looked at was, does picking up a niggle, which he defined as like a non-time loss injury, okay, so something that like, it's there, it hurts a little bit or it feels a bit off, but it's not bad enough that the player wants to stop. They're able to participate, they can gut it out and push through. Okay, so they wanted to see, does having a niggle then increase the risk of picking up a time loss injury? And in that sample of soccer players, he had about 200 participants or thereabouts. He actually found that you're somewhere in the range of 3.5 to nearly 7 times more likely to then develop an injury that would then force you to sit out. Coming back to what we understand about pain and what we understand about the fact that it's not really a good indicator of how badly something has been damaged, but rather how threatening your nervous system finds it. More and more research shows that that is mediated by psychological factors. Yeah. So depression and anxiety and things like that, and pain, catastrophization, ruminating on a situation, that all those things. Pain self-efficacy is another one, which is just how well do you cope with and I guess persevere and do things despite your pain. Those things do have a significant influence on outcome and how quickly a person will recover. So I think optimism is definitely important, and more often than not, things do get better with time, and it is important to understand that and be patient with that as well. There are certain conditions where I'd say that anti-inflammatories are warranted. One of the other ones, and this, my thinking on this changed just listening to this guy talk about it. He's an expert in neck and back nerve pain. And one of the things he spoke about was sometimes the suffering people go through with those conditions is immense. Okay, it's absolutely awful. Like he's had women telling it's worse than childbirth. And under those circumstances, getting like an anti-inflammatory like a cortisone or something like a Mobic can really take the edge off, to the point where it's like, if we can just alleviate that kind of suffering in the short term, we probably should. But for like a simple ankle sprain or a muscle tear, like there's a pretty compelling argument that we don't want to suppress inflammation more than we have to, right? Like more than just getting off it and getting it up and gently moving it, not stressing it out too much, because inflammation is how our body heals. So if we're pumping Nurofen like Tic Tacs for a muscle tear or a ligament sprain, we're probably impairing the healing process.